Greetings, melanated brothers, emperors, melanated sisters, empresses, beauty of this universe, and treasure of this universe. I want to give honor to the divine creator of the universe for allowing me to rise on this divine day with peace, love, harmony, balance, comfort, understanding of self in divine order. I am thankful and grateful, as always, with humility, to have opportunity to rise each day. Not only rise each day, but to be in my sound mind with the ability to think for myself. Being in my God consciousness, in my right state of mind, with my divine spirit within me, I know that all is well with you and your families. Continue doing what you're doing to be safe, be careful, navigating and maneuver in this society. Yes, I'm on again. This is the third time this year. And once again, I'll be talking about Clinton Earl Butler. And what I'm going to talk about is something that most people don't use. They have it, but they just don't activate it and cultivate it. A lot of people gonna not use this message to formulate their own ideas and opinion about this video. But that's understandable, because the word I'm getting ready to talk about, everybody gonna have their own conclusion and definition how that word relate to their lives and how that word can play a part in their daily life. This is something that higher academia won't teach you. The family you in don't know how to teach this. And most churches will not teach this. And the word is two words: critical thinking. I'm going to say it again. Critical thinking. Think about that word for a minute and ask yourself, do you use critical thinking in your life today? Just think about that word, critical thinking. Do you know what that word means? Critical thinking. If you dissect the word critical, that means that something is very important, critical, it's essential, it's vital. And you know what thinking means is that you have the ability to analyze, formulate, conceptualize decisions based on your observation. Now, this whole video is going to be about me. I apologize. Let me apologize for something. I have to stop and do something. I'm getting ahead of myself. When I always come online video, I always do this. And for a brief moment, it escaped me. But now I got to do it. I want to give thanks to two people that are very instrumental in my life. My two parents, Emperor Mac, Empress Mary. I give honor and homage to these two people that brought me into this world. They gave me the breath of life. So I want to give thanks to them. And I want to apologize to them as my ancestor for not acknowledging them. But get back to my critical thinking. My critical thinking has always been a part of my life. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't define it growing up as critical thinking because I would always question things that didn't make sense to me. Back then, I was using my critical thinking skills at that time, but like I said, I couldn't identify what it was at that particular time. But now, as I grown and develop into a mature person with some divine wisdom, I have a greater understanding now about my critical thinking. And growing up, I can't even recall even being taught critical thinking in the family, in school, or in the church. And I'm thinking in my mind the reason why I wasn't taught, not by my parents, but by the school and the church. Those two institutions is not designed for you to think on any critical level. It's designed for you to allow other folks think for you. And when you do that, you're really not in control. Someone else is defining who you are in your thought process. But now I have a greater understanding about critical thinking. What I do now in my life is to use my critical thinking skills to assist me in my life and the navigating and maneuvering in society at best. If you don't have critical thinking skills, you may have it, but are you activating and cultivating your critical thinking skill? Because if you really, really understand the concept of critical thinking, and I can say for myself, some of the things I wouldn't have never done in my life. But those things I done was some bad things. I made bad decisions. But those bad decisions was life lesson for me. So I did learn something from those experiences. But the mere fact that I did not use those skills that was already in me until later on in my life, when I realized they was already in me, I just had to develop those skills and use those skills to become a better thinking individual, a better way of looking at things, a better way of analyzing things, a better way of making solid decisions for my life. As I reflect back on my life, I didn't have a bad life. I just made some bad decisions, and like we all do. But in my young aging years, I call it. Yes, I said my young aging years, because I'm young and I'm still aging. And I'm appreciative of my young aging years, because it's allowed me to see some things, do some things in my life. I'm just thankful that I'm still here to do some things in my life. And as I move forward in my life, critical thinking is part of my daily appetite. That's on my menu for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and some snacks. Yes, that's my menu for today and every day. Critical thinking skills. I need it. Got to have it. Can't do without it. It's going to keep me from making bad decisions. And not only that, it allows me also to operate in my divinity, my divine self, which is going to help me to continue to activate and cultivate my critical thinking skills. Now, academia define it basically the same thing I'm talking about, being able to analyze, formulate ideas, and make sound decisions. But they don't teach you that. But at any rate, I got it. I'm going to keep it. Once again, this is going to be my appetite. It's going to be on my menu for life moving forward. Now, I'm just going to kind of switch gears a little bit and say how you can apply this, not only in other activities of your life, but in particular this very important decision that people don't really think about. Now, I'm not saying all people and everybody don't think about this decision, but do they think about it on a critical level? They should, because it's the most important decision you're going to make in your life. When you come together with someone and you're thinking about being in a serious relationship, you're thinking about getting married, you have to think on a critical level, analyzing everything, conceptualize and formulate. And the other person should be doing the same thing about you. That person should be analyzing, conceptualizing, using critical thinking. When you make a decision like that, that is nothing lightweight. That's a heavyweight decision that you are going to make when you're going to be with someone for a lifetime. You can't make a haphazard decision, not like that one. Even in trying to develop a friendship with someone, critical thinking skills are very important in any type of communication. You got to have that foundation. Quite naturally, if you have a God consciousness, your spirituality play a part in all of that as well. Divine wisdom, divine guidance. Critical thinking is nothing but thinking from logic, reasoning, and rationale. Logic, reason, and rationale. That's part of critical thinking. It also puts you in a position where you're observing some things, you see some things, and if you're not operating under those premises of critical thinking, you might see those things, but you're going to ignore those things. And what I mean things, I'm talking about the red flags that you normally should be watching for in that situation of establishing a friendship with someone or going to the next phase, which is a serious relationship. And the next phase is that union. And I must admit, I didn't really think about no critical thinking skills in none of my relationships. I'm guilty as charged, like everybody else. I'm not saying all people didn't make no critical thinking skill relationship. I would say a large percentage. Because sometimes it's operated out of emotions. A lot of people won't agree with that, that's fine. But sometimes our emotions get caught up. And you're not thinking with rationale, logic, and reasoning. And with a sound mind. But let me tell you, once you go through it 1 or 2 times, maybe 3 times, then you're going to realize, oh, I should have been thinking on a critical level. Then I couldn't have went through that. But you learn something from that situation, hopefully anyway. Now, shifting gears one more time. I'm not going to stay on too long. I just want to say some things before it escapes me. As I look back on my military career, I was using my critical thinking skills, didn't even know it. Because I was not conforming into the military way of thinking. I was not going to let them take something that they did not give me, which is my mind. They tried, but they did not prevail. Trust me, they tried. And I am a living witness today, knowing that they tried and knowing they did not succeed. Because I still have my mind intact. Don't get me wrong. It was hell going through it. But I didn't let the hell get next to me. I made it my heaven. Which means that I kept my cool, my calmness about myself, and collective about myself. They never knew but it's up here. Yes, I was outspoken and vocal. They knew that part, but they never knew the other things I was thinking about. The old saying is, never let the left hand know what your right hand is doing, or vice versa. Another old saying, don't let them see you sweat. I was not going to allow them to see that what they were trying to do to me, because if I'd have reacted another way, then they knew how to push my buttons. I always kept my professionalism intact. Always. And quite frankly, they didn't like me from the beginning. I wasn't concerned about them liking me. I was doing my job. But in the process of doing my job, I saw some things that didn't align with my spirit, so I had to question those things. And that's when things turned for the worse. I wouldn't say the worst, because mainly I retired. They paid me the rest of my life. So in the long run, I came out as a winner. No matter what they put me through, I'm still standing, stronger than ever. I'm just trying to let people know that once you activate your critical thinking and think for yourself, yes, you're going to have some problems. You're going to be a target. You're going to be labeled like I was. I was labeled as a troublemaker. I was labeled as a militant. I was labeled as someone that was not a team player. And I was not a team player. I wasn't playing along with their games. Not at all. I'm just so thankful and grateful that I kept a sane mind going through all that crap and still standing tall. If I can deal with all the crap that I've been through in the military, I can deal with almost anything if I choose to deal with it. Certain things I would not deal with, and certain things I would not tolerate it. I would not tolerate it at all. Because I deserve better than that. And I know I deserve better than that. Now, once again, I just want to come on to talk about critical thinking. And when you activate it and cultivate it and begin to make somewhat sound decisions using rationale, logic and reasoning, and divine sense and divine wisdom, that all play a part in your decision. You got to have some wisdom first and foremost, because all that comes from the divine creator. He gave us what, let me retract that. Somebody had to catch myself. I had to remind myself that when I talk about the creator of the universe, there's no name, label on the spirit. We've been taught that. So I'm still working on that as well, because we all been programmed to think that way. I'm not completely programmed 100%, maybe 15, 20%, because that's something I got to be more cognitive of in reference to when I speak about the divine creator. It's not a human being, that's a spirit. That's a spirit in us. So I stand to be corrected on that. Like I say, I have to purge myself every day. I'm purging myself every day to get rid of all that European thought process. It's a challenge. It is a challenge for all of us. I'm no exception to the rule. I'm not excluded for that. That's why I purge every day. I purge myself every day. Get back to critical thinking. Critical thinking for me, I have to use it. I have to use it daily in my life for my survival in this society. I want to be, I am a free-thinking individual. I do know that, of course, I gotta live by the law of the land. I'm not that naive, but I don't have to abide by some of these situations that people are conditioned to live by daily. That's them. I mean, I respect that, but I don't have to be a part of what other people do because they've been trained to do that. They've been programmed to do that. They've been indoctrinated to do that. And what I'm talking about traditions. I can't tell nobody to don't think on a traditional level. I don't do it. So don't get mad at me because I don't do it. Yeah, I used to do it. But when I came into some real knowledge, I don't do those things no more. When you come enlightened, some of those old things that you used to do, just stop doing them. I know I have. I can't speak for nobody else. Let me say something real quick. I never said this publicly on live video, but just to go back in reference to the military. When you in the military, I know some people say, you all over the place. I could be. But I'm going to bring you right back to critical thinking. And that's what I'm doing right now. I was involved with someone, and we was at the end of our relationship. And I briefly connected with this individual. I was still active duty at the time, 2007. Just cordially talking on the phone. She worked in D.C. as a government official. I don't want to say the word, but I'm going to say it anyway, so people can really know what I'm talking about. She was an FBI agent working in D.C. Now, what I'm going to tell you is true facts. This is nothing made up. This is real. This is real talk in real time. She called me, and I'm going to repeat these words she said to me. She called me and said these words. She said, "Who in the hell you got pissed off at the Pentagon?" I'm saying, what are you talking about? She said it again. Who in the hell you got pissed off the Pentagon? I said, what are you talking about? She said, your name is ringing very loud at the Pentagon. You got people pissed off at you in the Pentagon. I'm saying, what are you talking about? Mind you, going back to my critical thinking, I was very vocal, outspoken about a lot of stuff was going on in the military. So I couldn't quite put it together, what she was saying. And yet today, this happened in 2007. I still don't know what that all about. But I do know this. When you think it on a critical level and when you question things that's not right, you become a threat to the system. And I'm thinking, at that time, I was only a staff sergeant, active duty, and my name was ringing very high at the Pentagon. And I said, I must be doing something right. That they've noticed in me as a staff sergeant. Maybe they figured I was trying to rock the system or rock the boat. I don't know. But I was making some noise somewhere. I said that to say this. I was using my critical thinking skills to question everything that I saw was not going right. The racism, all that stuff I experienced. I saw with other soldiers, so I questioned that. I had enough courage and bravery to do that. And I'm not apologizing for doing that. It let me know that if you speak out on anything that's relevant and trying to bring some justice to injustices, you become a dangerous person. Not only that, you become a threat. By using your critical thinking skill, because they don't want you to think. They do not want you to think. Period. I'm going to get ready to close this out shortly. But anyway, activate more your critical skills to make more sound decisions in your life. And I guarantee you, things will fall right in place. Not to say that you won't have a hiccup every now and then. You're going to have some hiccups. But make sure you get back on track. Get back aligned with yourself. My mother used to say this. One bad decision, one mistake, take a lifetime to recover from that. And that is so profound. That is so true. Today, you can make one bad move in your life, and it'll cost you the rest of your life. To a certain degree, if you allow it, if you continue to resonate with that thing all your life. But if you don't resonate it, accept what happened, move on, and move on with life. Don't focus on it. But when you correct that mistake, you got to remember not to make that same mistake, because if you make the same mistake, you didn't learn from the first time. You didn't learn from that at all because you're repeating the same thing. Have you noticed, I know I have, that if you constantly do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, expecting some different results, and you never get the results, then you have to check yourself. What are you doing? You're not doing anything different. If you're doing something different, you're going to see the change. It's evidence. But if you keep doing the same old, and expecting some changes, how are you operating? What are you doing? You deceiving yourself? You misleading yourself? You manipulating yourself? What are you doing to yourself? So once again, I'm going to continue activating, cultivating my critical thinking skills. One of my AKAs in my writing, poetic thinker. I'm a poet, and I have to think in order to write poetry. So it goes together. And I'm using my critical thinking as a poet to bring about those words in my poet expressions, in my poetry, to bring some awareness, some enlightenment, some inspiration, motivation, encouragement to those who read what I write. So therefore, I am uplifting the people that read what I write. And also I'm uplifting myself in the process. Everything I write is also for me. So I'm thankful and grateful that the Divine Critic gave me this divine gift of poet expression and poetry to be a vessel, to enhance, to build, and to give some type of sense of direction to people's lives if they read my poetry. And I'm thankful and grateful to everybody that do respond to my writing with the love, the thumbs up, the comments. I'm very grateful, thankful. I appreciate it. I really do. For your support and all that. I might not respond to everybody, but to let you know that I do appreciate it. That's why sometimes I come online to acknowledge my friends that support me, because it makes me feel great that you support me and read my stuff. It's not only my stuff. I'm giving freely to those who read it, and you can apply it to your lives. So once again, my brothers and sisters, thank you for taking the time to even want to listen. I appreciate that. I have to say this. I have to remain humble in whatever I do on my divine journey. I would never get beside myself. I would never get the big head. I would never get the thought process I'm better than anybody, because that's not who I am. I don't operate like that. I don't move like that. So therefore, once again, my brothers and sisters, thank you. I appreciate you. Much love and respect for everybody. This is Poetic Thinker, pull the plug, signing out. Hotep.